guys, Cloverjack here with your monthly November 2018 general tarot reading for the sign of Sagittarius. A little bit of housekeeping. I'm sorry these are late. They're kind of like a second half of November reading at this point, but I recorded all my previous videos like really huge file sizes and they took forever to upload, like days. So I'm starting something new and they're a fraction of the size, using new codecs and all that kind of stuff. So it's fun and they're better and they upload faster, which means I'm going to get these out faster, which is great. So yeah, I'm sorry. Next month's will be a lot quicker and on time and a little bit early. Yeah. As if I'm ever early. I'll try. I'm good at that. I'm good at trying. I mean, not being early. Anyway, additional additional housekeeping. For those of you who are new to my channel, which should be all of you because it's a very new channel, I use decks that are not traditional tarot decks. They do have a major arcana, they do have a minor arcana, and yes, they are tarot, but the minor arcana is more of like a playing card style than it is the illustrated style that you may be familiar with. So if you're used to getting any sort of extra information, whether you read cards yourself or you just know a little bit about reading cards, it might be a little bit tricky for you to do that with these decks. Not saying you can't, just it might be a little tricky for you, like a little weird because, you know, no images. Anyway, I have pre-shuffled and I am still shuffling because the cards aren't sticking yet. They're a little bit bouncy though, so I might just take it. I like my decks either sticking or bouncy. Two different energies, but they both mean it's done. Kind of like when you're baking, you know? You either go for smoke or you go for the timer. One of the two. Or you go for the, you know, sign when, you know, you smell something and it smells done. With no smoke. And in this case, we are sticking. We will call that timer. So we cut, and we will see what we have in store for... Oh, okay. You know what's funny? Because I don't really like to turn any of these into love readings, but then sometimes I look at the bottom of the deck and I'm just like, I guess I wonder what's on the mind of this sign this month. You know? Okay. Oh. Okay. 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 I'm just gonna be a lot of K's, okay? Just a lot of K's. Yeah, a lot of K's. By the way, there's the Two of Cups in the bottom of the deck, which is why I said all that kind of stuff. I thought it might be a little bit romantic, and it kind of is. There's some romance here that I do want to talk about, but, there are two couples here. Two couples. One of these things doesn't belong here. Okay. However, I want to say this is a month of contracts and obligations, and when I say that, I mean new contracts, new agreements, new contracts, new agreements, new handshakes. Whatever you use to, like, sign the dotted line, so to speak. Two Cups is my contract card. I know a lot of people read it as a soulmate card. I kind of read it as a soulmate card. I kind of read it as a love card because I know it is an emotional fulfillment thing, but it is a contractual card. It's a card about being in agreement or being in sync, I guess is a better way to put it. However, while that might be the case, I feel like things have been stagnant for far too long. That's what I'm getting. I'm getting definitely a very strong burnout sense here. For those of you who are in a working environment or at school or even retired, whatever it is that you're doing, whatever it is you're working on, whether it's a hobby, job, work, school, relationship, whatever, you're burned out, like totally burned out. Like you're like, I'm tired, I'm overworked, I'm not making any progress, and just kill me now. Not literally, you know, it's figurative. Now with that, with that burnout actually comes a lot of really interesting energies. Now, you've been working pretty hard for quite some time, and that doesn't mean like literally you've been throwing your back into something, doing tons of heavy lifting, tons of heavy labor, manual labor, or, you know, even just like churning out the content. I mean, this feels just more tedious, laborious. Not necessarily that your production value is high, but your effort output is high, I suppose I should say. I don't think that that sounds great, but I don't have a better term for it. But before I continue, I just want to touch on a couple of things, because like I said, this channel is very new, so none of you will know this, and I know I read... you know what, you can't really see the queen there. Okay, that kind of cuts off judgment down at the bottom, but that's okay. You can see that better. I like it. Okay. I just want to say ahead of time, because I know very few people read the tarot this way. The major arcana for me isn't about big events. The major arcana for me is, you know, things that are out in the universe that you can't see. They're the influences that are kind of around you. They're things that you have asked to be manifested but haven't actually shown up yet. Whereas the minor arcanas are, you know, physical things that you can recognize in your general environment that have come to pass, or that, you know, are there. So with that said, you have 2 minor arcanas and then 1 at the bottom of the deck, but really 2 minor arcanas. The rest are court cards or major arcanas. So when I say burnout, I mean burnout. Like, there's nothing else going on at all. I mean, I don't even necessarily know that you think about plans for the future. I don't even think you're planning like 3 days ahead. I don't think you know like the next day you're going to get groceries. I mean, that's what's here. I mean, it's just burnout. That's all that's present up. But there's a lot of characters at play here, which is really interesting, because that means that you know, 1 or more of you might actually be experiencing burnout. I paused here because I got a strong message where it says regression. If you notice that there are kings in the past but queens in the future, and you went down a step in the suit, so to me that says regression. Now there's also... You know, this could also be, rather than regressing in a negative sense, this could also mean dialing back your responsibilities, or forfeiting a level of responsibility. Yeah, forfeiting a level of responsibility willingly and being happy about it. For some of you, that might mean you make a little bit less money. I don't think you care. I do want to talk a little bit about the people who may be looking for relationship information, because that's what this is. Information, not affirmation. There is a difference. Please, please read responsibly. There are, if it's not regression, or regressing back to a previous state in a relationship, like a rewind, even if you weren't necessarily fighting, because there's no conflict here. Even if this is kind of like rewinding or regressing in a relationship, or forfeiting some sort of responsibility that you had, or some sort of action that you were supposed to do that you don't want to do anymore, I feel like it's actually a pretty good thing. It doesn't really feel like there's a whole lot of strain or stress. It just feels like we need to go back a little bit, because we're a little out of control and we can't keep doing this the way we've been doing this, or we will get out of control. That's what it is. Okay. That's what it is. Now for some of you, maybe half of you, I mean, like, it feels kind of big, but also not that big, so I want to say about half. There are 2 couples, but there are also... There's 1 couple that's a couple and 1 couple that's not a couple. There's 1 happy couple that's regressing, and they're regressing in a good way because they realize that they're both overburdened, overstressed, overtaxed, and they may be planning a vacation of sorts. But on the flip side, I mean, there's a relinquishing of power, but I think it's a good thing, because the relinquishing of power in the couples, like the couple who's actually a couple relationship, I feel like that's a good thing, because I don't really want to say things were unbalanced, but I want to say that one person can only carry, like, say 10 pounds and was carrying 15, while the other person was carrying 20 pounds but can carry 25. And so, you know, you take off the 5 pounds from one, put it on the other, and then both kind of balance, while the workload itself hasn't actually balanced. Like, it's still balanced. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's about capacity. It's about meeting your capacity constraints. I don't have a better way to put that, and I know that's really awkward, but I'm sorry. Now, there's a little bit of jealousy of the couple who's not a couple for the couple who is a couple, and vice versa. The couple who is a couple is also just a little bit jealous of the couple who is not a couple. Which might mean that those two are crushing on each other, or they haven't met yet, or one person's watching from afar. That feels more like right. It feels more like an afar sort of thing. And I think the couple who is a couple, you know, at some days I feel like they just long for singlehood. But then other days they're just totally fine. But I want to say, like, that's probably been a thought that's come out of the burnout, or, you know, it's just kind of like a byproduct of it. Now, the couple who is not a couple, this is going to get so confusing so quick. There's a lot of wish fulfillment here. No, I look at the star and I see a very lonely card. For me, the star is wanting to be the stars, because a star should never be singular unless it's the sun, because the sun is comfortable in its own skin, so on and so forth. It's fine being on its own. It is the sun, not a sun, whereas the star is really more like a star, because there are thousands of stars, and it just wants to be the star. So it's lonely, right? Like, it's looking for its companions, or a companion in the case of love and romance. And so that's kind of where I get the wish to relieve yourself of loneliness. And I think that comes in, or at least there's a longing for that to come in. And I do feel like there's almost like a meeting of the minds. I don't feel like singlehood is cast aside, but I do feel like you get one step closer, right? And I feel like this was kind of inevitable. Like, this has been gestating for a while, and I wonder if this couple who is a couple is going to be almost matchmaking the couple who is not a couple. I feel like this would happen without their help, but somehow I feel like they're going to help whether they want to or not, because I feel like for them, for those for those couples who are a couple who are not in a position to take a proper vacation, this might, like, kind of work as their vacation, kind of like setting up their friends of friends, right? This is so weird. I feel like I'm looking at a script for How I Met Your Mother. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, the way that these cards are laid out. But there is a sense of inevitability about it. Like, you know, this will happen whether these two interfere or not. Okay? But I don't think it'll happen in quite... I do feel like there's comedic timing here. Not divine timing. I have very strong feelings on the concept of divine timing, and I will not go into it here. But comedic timing. Like, it's going to be like, really? It's happening now? I am not prepared. My face is not washed. My hair has not been washed in, like, 3 days. I'm wearing my sweatsuit. You know, like that kind of thing. It feels like comedic to me. I don't think it'll matter. I mean, like, I feel like this actually goes very well. There's nothing here to really worry about. I mean, it feels just like a reminder to have fun. And that this will be fun, and this is going to be a very interesting scenario to play out. Now, for some of you, very few of you, you may be watching this play out around you, as one set of friends actually tries to pair off 2 other sets of friends, and you're just kind of sitting there with a bag of popcorn like, this is fun. I want one, but I mean, like, maybe I'll get one, but this is fun in the meantime. It feels like that. It feels like that. But there is a strong sense of inevitability that this meeting would occur. Not that the union will occur, though that is likely eventually, next couple of months. Like, that's kind of the foundation here that's coming up, right? There's a hooking up eventually, a coupling, a contract, an agreement, right? And I feel like when these two meet, they're kind of going to be like, we're going to agree to not talk about it, but to also like only focus on each other, although neither of us is acknowledging that something is actually occurring. How's that? Like I said, this is some pretty strong inevitability here. I like it. I actually think it's kind of funny. And this is going to be like a really, really, really nice reprieve from all the burnout that you've been feeling, and it's going to be very energizing. I feel like energetically you'll feel better. I feel like you'll feel less tired. You'll sleep a little bit better. This kind of thing will just make you smile, you know. This is just like a whole spread of awkward laughter. It's the best way I can describe it. Now, for those of you at work who are not dealing with a romantic situation, this is going to play out, but in a slightly different scenario. This will play out with two conspirators who are of like minds conspiring to get two other people in their workplace to work together. Or two other friends to do something together, okay? And these two friends, in the non-romantic way, if there's no romance involved here, these two people do not like each other, and they do not mix, and they do not want to mix. But they're going to, and it's inevitable, and they're just going to have to deal with it, all right? It's kind of going to play out like an episode of The Office. I mean, I think it turns out well. I don't feel like this is anything big. It's just like the event itself kind of takes over your focus and your life for a bit. And it's just going to be one of those things that you look back on and be like, that was so weird, but amazing. But weird, but amazing, right? Or if you are, in fact, one of these two people here, you just have a really fantastic story to tell people, you know, years from now. Because if this is romantic, this is going to be a long-term thing. If this is not romantic, this is actually going to turn into a friendship that's one of those like begrudging friendships that you can't escape, and eventually like both of them will say, I hate this person so much, but they spend all of their time with each other because they're actually best friends, but neither of them will ever like admit it out loud. It's going to be more like that kind of a thing. I mean, it just plays out pretty well, you know, like the whole thing works out real well. Anyway, that's all I have for you for this mini wheel. My real wheel is actually twice the size of this and will not fit on camera, so we do mini wheels. Because my cards are big. Anywho. Man, Sagittarian energy gets me, like, so out of focus and on so many different, how do you say, like, tangents. It's very tangential. Tangential. Yeah, it is tangential. God, it sounds weird when you say it 3 times. Like, see, I'm not focused at all. I don't know what it is about this energy that makes me like this. I am not like this kind of like kooky in any other reading, but anyway. Okay, outro. Right. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. If this resonated with you, if you could leave a like or a comment, that would be excellent. I'd love to hear from you, and if not, that's okay too. I may or may not see you next month, but I hope to see you. And if I don't, well, I mean, either way, I guess. Have a good rest of November. Bye.